overarching and always setting the precedent of what compositions can be. They're always just one step ahead of their opponents. And for now, they want to convert on this final and make it official. They are the best team in EU.
Apprentice Unleashed has one last chance to take down Noun Esports until the World Championships, and it just started right now. These two teams are both sending their Dragonite into the central area right off the hop, giving them every last bit of wild experience. Gatlu on this Trevenant actually find himself in the top path.
Yeah, Dreadnought downstairs, they're going to put some pressure on in a big way. Some little switch up that Nouns Esports is looking to do. Dreadnought coming back in, looking to engage. Zervis, Gek, and Zante getting pushed back a little bit. Zante still sitting at level 3, not doing what we've seen before, which is like a split of the central area to make sure your Sylveon gets to level 4 very early.
Zante and Gek Okami, two exceptional players that have been playing together for so long, are playing these early game dominant Pokemon. Bruv doing the same, and finally Zante's got Hyper Voice, and look what it does to wild Pokemon.
Absolutely melts them down, and caught in the crossfire there was Redmaw as well, getting chunked pretty big and had to retreat.
Exactly. A Desu just going to be going all the way back to base. You can always teleport back, but cooldown can be interrupted if someone does attack you. They're going to head back into the central area. Dragonite, one of the most important Pokemon to level up quickly.
Geese and Gallo having the opportunity to jump on the Lucario there, but actually Gallo decided, I'm going to get a stack in real quick, hitting level 6, and that's a good one for the old Trevenant there, as they're looking to scale up their attacks, and they're also looking to get to level 7 for that Bighorn Leech.
Scale up their attacks. They're also running the Aos Cookie, so their HP will also be getting increased. The more goals they score, the more of a threat Gatlu will be for Nouns Esports. A phenomenal player, and when their stats start going through the roof, they become even more of a force.
Nouns Esports putting the chase a little bit on the opposing Danger Noodle here as they're forced to retreat. Bruv was coming up for support. Hyperspace, what's buying the time for them, and of course allowing the Dragonair to retreat back to their central area for Apprentice.
It's interesting to see Redmaw finding themselves in this bottom path. I wonder if it is to directly counter what Zante is trying to do. Redmaw operating on this power-up punch is going for big impact plays a little bit less often. Klaus instead operating in that extreme speed build. That player loves to team fight. They're a very aggressive Lucario, and if they can get into your backline and find some squishier, weaker Pokemon, they can take it down.
There's that big Horn Leech by Gatlu, getting it just in time, pushing all of the bees to their side, so that's a lot of good wild Pokemon for them. 10 seconds until Dreadnought, the first big objective down here.
We're going to see a full roster of 5-on-5. Hyperspace hold from Hoopa, going to teleport everybody back down.
Chelvin coming in, and it's Gatlu playing far forward. That's what you want as a defender that can push the other squad out. Dreadnought 50%. We're lining up the Hyper Beams. Who's going to get it? It's Nouns Esports, of course. They seem to get every objective here, but that's a KO for Adesu through the Lucario. Lucario themselves getting a KO as well. That's Redmaw, and now Apprentice Unleashed with 2 players down. They have to give up a little bit of space here as that Sylveon's trying to buy a Unite move by the Trevenant. Gatlu's pushing way far forward. Another Hyper Beam finds his mark in tandem with Hoopa. Are you kidding me? Now Z-Sports gonna rain some points in, siege this goal zone. Are they gonna break it? Question mark. Look like they're just gonna leave it down and low for now to be broken later.
I'm sure they wouldn't mind breaking that situation, but even more so, they want Redmaw's attack weight stacks to be up. So getting those small little scores in, absolutely paramount when getting a Lucario up to the power level you need them to be.
Yeah, Klaus up top getting a couple stacks in themselves, and really had the positional advantage for a moment there around the Rotom. But of course, here comes Nouns Esports. That's a Hyper Beam after the Bliss assistance, and let's see how far they want to escort this thing in. Looks like Bruvs isn't interested in throwing a couple Egg Bombs in there, giving the opportunity for Daisy to life up some Hyper Beams here. Klaus is doing a good job bullying, buying space. Bruv not leaving him alone though, being so pesky with those Egg Bombs.
Bruv's got to be careful here though. They use their Bliss assistance with securing the Rotom, so they're not going to have any great supportive tools. The Hyper Beam almost brings them down, but there's no one there to chase. Bruv gets out for free.
Good max range Hyper Beam to really chunk Bruv and keep them out from being pesky again and re-engaging. Here's Gatlu picking up Zante with the big Horn Leech here. Zante's going to try and line up a Hyper Voice, but there's a Hyper Beam that closed it out on the tree, lining them and burning them down here in the bottom path. A little bit of forest fire.
Chelvin has to escape from the Draco impact of Adesu, but now a Unite move of their own to try to stay up. The Hyper Beam predicts where they're going to land and absolutely knocks them out.
And here's Zante trying to figure it out, have to use their Unite move, but Adesu's kind of feeling it, pushing back with double buffs here. They're going to be able to do some work. There's the Unite move by the Hoopa to put the pressure on and get the KO on the Sylveon. Nouns Esports is all over Apprentice Unleashed, not even letting them get close to this Dreadnought that's to populate in 4 seconds here. And look how far forward they're playing. Geese and Gatlu just putting pedal to the metal here, and Apprentice Unleashed can't even get past this goal zone to even contest. Finally, Klaus is in there. They're deep, but the Hyper Beam is going to seal that up and a KO. What was I telling you about Adesu? Zoinks, objectives and bodies at the same time. Why use your move twice?
There are 3 things that I know about Pokemon Unite. The game is 10 minutes long. Adesu secures every objective, and Adesu secures every objective. A very impressive play from Nouns Esports. I think another thing that is becoming a token mark of this team is the fact that they're using their Unite moves very, very early and taking teams completely off guard. That Phantom Forest out of the Trevenant there, unexpected.
Well, here we go. Apprentice Unleashed is using their Unite moves to push forward. Galu's going to try and hold it down, and Trevenant's tough on their goal zones here. We have a Hyper Voice. We have a Unite move by Chelvin back in to try and buy some time. Galu's lined up. They're burned down, of course. Hyper Beam. Zante pushing forward, but I don't know how good this push was for Apprentice Unleashed. They traded a 2-for-1 there, and now Z-Sports is heating up here, as of course it's Adesu on the Bliss Assistance, just cranking out that damage through the Hyper Beam. That thing is huge right now.
Dragonite absolutely singing at that level 13. Every single Hyper Beam is honestly a destructive force that can take out a small town. Right now, they're trying to kidnap the Rotom. They're sending it all the way to that tier 2 goal zone. Rotom, not that much of a threat going towards a tier 1, but when that tier 2 is open, it can be a danger, especially when Redmaw has 30 AOS energy they're looking to deposit.
Yeah, they're escorting this thing in. 4 players for Apprentice Unleashed, not interested in that, but here's the Dragonite going to use a Draco Impact to buy some space. Trevenant gets KO'd, but Adesu coming in with the Unite move, able to buy a little bit of space for the rest of the team to get out, and it seems like that was good enough for them for now.
Great heads-up play there from Zervis to drop down the hyperspace hole on top of the goal zone. You saw Nouns Esports trying to do a cheeky rotation and get some extra AOS energy in that tier 2 on the bottom path. Completely shut down by the Hoopa out of Apprentice.
Yeah, Zante was trying to make a move up top. Nouns Esports susses that out, puts the pressure on. Here comes Chelvin with a little bit of a save here. That's a big dragon flying back in your face as Nouns Esports picks up Klaus for free.
Klaus going in very deep. When you were behind in a game of Pokemon Unite, it's very tough to change the tide, but a big KO on a high-level Pokemon could do it.
I mean, they're taking this Dreadnought, no questions asked. Nouns Esports stretching their experience lead, and Apprentice Unleashed has a lot of headwinds here if they want to try to make this thing work. They're down by about 80 points-ish, 170 points, so it's going to come down to the Zapdos for them.
If it wasn't evident already, Nouns Esports is in a gigantic lead, points-wise, experience-wise, and they certainly have a chokehold on this game right now. Apprentice Unleashed win condition is absolutely going to be trying to catch a member of Nouns Esports out of position and eliminating them in this key moment. The final stretch is about to start. We're at 2 minutes.
Klaus took a big bit of damage, and so did Zervis here, as they're going to have to Unite move to try and bring parity. Geese comes in. They're trying to find the body. Zapdos is 50%. That was a straight rip by Apprentice here. Nouns is going to go for it, and they get it, of course. And is that it's Lucario on Lucario getting the KO. Redmaw had picked up the Bliss Assistance, and here comes Adesu just dancing around, going in and bringing in those ducats, and this lead is about to get mean.
Yeah, 2 more 50s about to go in. Of course, all scores being doubled in the final 2 minutes of Pokemon Unite means that their lead is going to the moon. 769 to 255 right now. A minute and a half left in the game, but this score is probably unreachable for the side of Apprentice.
I mean, they scored a good 100 points or so. Apprentice Unleashed did, and they're still down by 530. Are you kidding me? Now, this is Nouns Esports. They know what this defense is about. They know what this game is about. Don't overextend, hang out. But you have the Trevenant, Gatlu continually putting pressure on to get more points in. You have Apprentice Unleashed that has to deal with that. Kind of what Spraggles and Jeff was mentioning earlier. They're just throwing so many different looks of Apprentice. They're splitting their attention, and if you're not coalesced, you're not going to score in the end of the game.
I was just mentioning what Apprentice needed to do to get back in the game as well, but Nouns actually must have been listening in on me. They did the exact same thing. They found Klaus in a targetable position, and they did not have that unstoppable factor on them. They shut them down with a few maneuvers, and then they wiped them out of the field, making Zervis the same.
Yeah, Zervis got caught, Klaus got caught, and now Z-Sports, after that, they knew they had the HP advantage, they had the level advantage, they just need to convert, and they did. Gatlu just trying to pad the stat sheets here, trying to get some more heals, some more damage going, as they just keep horn leeching into poor Chelvin, who's just like, dude, leave me alone, 20 seconds left, come on.
This Pokemon is quite strong. The Trevenant pick for Gatlu is very exceptional, not just from the player playing it. Obviously, Gatlu is a superstar, one of the best players we have in the region for sure, but probably the entire world. I know they're going to be very excited to prove that coming up very soon in August, but Gatlu has made this Trevenant look amazing. A new look here in the EU region is this Trevenant attacker. It got some doubt early on, but it is paying off in the later stages of this tournament. We call it a blind draft because you don't get to see what the opponent Pokemon are until you start loading into the game. Not knowing what your opponent's playing leaves some things up in the air and allows you to trick your opponents with new selections. Like Zante switching over to the Venusaur, this might be a new look, and now they have a ranged attacker to start fighting against Lucario.
Yeah, and they're doing that right out of the gate here. Zante trying to keep Redmaw off their own stuff as Redmaw's getting pressure. Zervis coming in. A good Astonish here could seal up a KO if they can get it. They're putting the pressure on. Get coming through and getting the KO. That's a good start for Apprentice Unleashed.
Getting the KO is very, very fitting. You remember they are also playing some stacking items, so they're desperately trying to get this 7 AOS energy in, but they actually get punished. Stop from scoring. The focus band is used, and they need to run, but they don't make it fast enough. Bruv KOs Gecko Kami.
Klaus in the face of Gatlu, keeping them from putting too much pressure on as Adesu is circling down in the central area. They may need a little bit of support because it's a little 2-on-2 action up top. Zervis playing very far forward, going to try and get this berry. They get it, but Redmaw, do you have the power to get it done? In tandem with Bruv, can they close it out? They do. A little dart through. Bruv actually already backed off and was going straight to the bees.
A Lucario so often feels the solo lane potential, hitting level 5 easily. This time Redmaw only at level 4 because they're sharing it with the other Pokemon in the bottom path.
Oh, Klaus caught on the backside. Geese looking for the closeout on Gatlu here. Gatlu's very low, and they get closed out by the Danger Noodle Dragonair.
I will never call Klaus caught out until they're KO'd, but that player utilizes their Bone Rush Extreme Speed cooldown so well, such a flashy player, a very aggressive one, and it pays off so much.
I don't think Bruv has gotten KO'd any game we've seen them. They're so great at just staying up, standing out, and supporting their squad. Hoopa getting a KO on Lucario, Nouns Esports, trying to take out the big name players on Apprentice and doing it with their support characters, letting the damage dealers to deal, you know, whatever they want.
Bruv, the newest addition to this Nouns Esports squad, but honestly, it feels like they fit in so well, feeling like the first time. They're doing so good. You are right, supporting their entire team, but also making sure that they are not a reason the other team is gaining experience.
Without a doubt, Zante's still level 4, needs to get a KO here to get into Ivysaur, and they're going to want that here in short order as Chelvin's rolling back through, finally hitting 5, and they're ready to go. 30 seconds till that Dreadnought, and only 10 seconds till these bees.
Yeah, these bees are going to be electric, a full 4-on-4 situation on them. Geese already with early positioning with the Phantom Force.
I mean, are they even going to be able to contest? They're playing so far forward. Finally, Apprentice Unleashed rolls out of their goal zone here, but can they get any of these bees for themselves? Chelvin and Zante in tandem do get one, but it looks like Nouns Esports are getting the rest. Catching a little reset there is Bruv, as we're moving back forward here, and Adesu trying to line up a Hyper Beam, and they almost get Giga Drained by the Ivysaur, forced to retreat, and Bruv throwing their body in the way of Chelvin so that Adesu can get out. But it's Apprentice Unleashed all over this Dreadnought. 2 players down for now, but they're not down and out without Gatlu and Redmaw in the mix. And of course, it's Redmaw. Let's go. What work by Nouns Esports to take that one for themselves.
Fluffy Tail, Power Up Punch, Horn Leash, all of these words mean that Dreadnought goes over towards Nouns Esports. Great coordination there, despite some heroic plays from Klaus, going in deep, getting 2 KOs, especially on a Dragonite. They still take that Pokemon. Nouns Esports keeping their heads in this game. Fantastic work, but now it looks like they're getting the Rotom too.
Yeah, they got that Bliss Assistance on Redmaw. That's a good opportunity for Redmaw to push and get in the face of Apprentice Unleashed. Don't want to let that go to waste. They're moving forward. Bruv is trying to get some points in. Can they close it out before the Rotom? No. The Rotom hits, and they're going to siege the second goal zone. They've got the power. They've got the damage. Draco Impact comes back. They're on the backside. Can they line up Hyper Beam? KO Shrika 2 for the Lucario. Redmaw's starting to feel it. They're going to go in deep on on Zante. Dragonite gets that KO on the Ivysaur, and now it's just Klaus and Zervis trying to hold it down. These points are raining in, 149 to 18. You kidding me? KO Trick a 2 for a Desu. That Hyper Beam is finding every Apprentice unleashed like a homing missile, and Nouns Esports is just beating the brakes off of them, and there's only 4 minutes and 15 seconds gone from this game.
Nouns Esports, that's actually a great call out though, Deuce Snacks. You have to remember a slight change up in Apprentice Unleashed roster of Pokemon they selected is a dedication towards the later half of that game. However, you would love to have that Venusaur already being there. Yes, it's a Pokemon that needs scaling and it needs its levels to be up there as a threat, but it needs them a lot quicker than Apprentice is doing right now. There's not much wild Pokemon around for them to take, but right now they're heading to the central area to do so.
What Geese thinks makes Nouns Esports the best, we can play any character, so we'll always be able to surprise you. Isn't that the truth? We've seen it every month since the start of the Unite Championship Series. They've switched it up, they've innovated, they've been on the front line of this kind of team comp technology, strategy technology, and they're taking the teams to task. Unite move by Geese, the player we're just talking about. Apprentice Unleashed can't even get in here. Klaus on the backside. Are they going to get KO'd? They get snuffed out immediately. Redmaw, that's Redmaw picking that up. Left side team takes it on the back of Bruv and an Egg Bomb. Trevenant Unite move is going to try and find more marks here as Apprentice Unleashed gets 2 players down. They're pushing forward, and finally Zante is the Venusaur. Giga Drain Pedal Dance, trying to do a little grass on grass action here, but Gatlu's relentless. A tree in the face of leaves doesn't make any sense to me as Gatlu's all in their face, and Redmaw's there as well, and Redmaw is going to get credit for that KO.
Venusaur, an exceptional self-sustained Pokemon. Unfortunately, Trevenant even more so, especially in a 1v3 situation there. You saw 2 Nouns Esports players playing just out of range of the Pedal Dance as well, allowing Gatlu to be the front line. Even in a micro team fight like that, Nouns Esports plays it exceptionally, and they're going to do that time and time again, Dudes next.
Yeah, now Apprentice Unleashed is responsible for this Rotom here, but Nouns Esports is already putting pressure on the bottom goal zone. They're all over this map as if they have twice as many players.
173 to 18 is a pretty devastating scoreline for Apprentice in this game too. Apprentice trying to change things around though. A very late Hoopa Unite move trying to pressure this bottom goal zone.
Gatlu's very far forward. Big Hornleash is going to go for the engage. You see Venusaur's caught out, and there's Klaus. They're getting chased down. No, they get pushed to the central, but now they're going to be able to siege this goal zone. It's just up to Zervis, who used their Unite move already. Look how far Desu's pressuring forward to buy some space. Oh, they're going to get a huge overdunk. Huge overdunk there. I think of 40 points, Zoinks. And yeah, they got 40 back the other way, but that's not going to negate the action of Nouns Esports.
Apprentice Unleashed in the same situation that they were in within game 1. Not really having an answer towards a Desu's gigantic damage numbers, but right now this game's been all about Redmaw shutting down any other opponent on their team. When they're going into a Venusaur instead of a Serena, Redmaw has a little bit more room to breathe.
You gotta ask, what would that commitment of Gek onto that Rotom? I mean, they're on that for about 6.5 hours, and they weren't able to get into any team fight. Nouns Esports with Bruv on the backside, Egg Bombs all over the place, buying space. Nouns Esports moving real well as this next Dreadnought's coming up, and Nouns Esports is all over it.
Yeah, this is good as theirs for sure. Right now, you can even see they're dedicating Bruv on the Blissey to be playing near the top path completely for information. They know they don't need them to knock out that wild Pokemon, so instead, they are better suited being in another place on the map, providing vision for the rest of their team.
Gatlu immediately taking the hyperspace highway up to the top path, and they're buying space in the middle. Are they going to look for an early engage here? Gek is getting caught out, just dodges the hyper beam. I say caught out, getting sussed out, excuse me, and dodges the hyper beam as they're able to make it back. But we've got 15 seconds, and this is a critical moment for Apprentice.
I like that positioning there. Klaus threatened to score in the top goal zone, and all of Apprentice was rotating down towards the bottom path. However, it seems like a collapser on this middle corridor is coming up next, trusting in Zante's amount of self-sustain as the spearhead for Apprentice.
Oh, they're all over the Dreadnought, and Zapdos, and Apprentice Unleashed can't even get into it. They're trying to look at this thing, and who's going to flip it? It's Apprentice Unleashed. They get in there, they throw just enough at it, as it's the Venusaur Unite move that takes it down, 2 players down for Nouns Esports. But Nouns Esports is going to be able to score the other way, and as Apprentice Unleashed do they have enough points? Every player's still standing, so plus 500, but that's a gap that Nouns Esports can actually kind of bridge pretty quickly, Zoinks.
Yeah, they just scored another 100 on their side, so 358, 458 now for Apprentice, 423 for Nouns. Apprentice with a slight lead. That's going to change desperately here now. The Zervis throws in an entire 100. That's a great Phantom Force reset all the way back.
That was amazingly set up by them to get back and play some defense. They are up by about 120-ish points here, and that's what they're going to look to do. Nouns Esports, on the other hand, they wish they could get some pockets full so they can make the push. Apprentice Unleashed, though, look at Gek playing very far forward, threatening 100 back the other way.
This is a great call out of Gecko Kami, an exceptional tank player. I've always called them the innovator when it comes to tanks in Unite, always picking up new ones before anybody else. They will die on the hill saying that they were the first weekly tough tank. But anyways, right now, trying to displace Gatlu a little bit. They have 46 AS energy. They got to stop that from going in.
Yeah, Gek's opportunity here is really to buy time for the rest of the squad, right? Distract Nouns Esports so they can't have a coalesced push, just a cooperated and coordinated push back the other way, because this 120-point gap can be closed out very quickly with a good goal zone siege.
The threat from Nouns Esports will always be real, no matter what point it is in the game. Desu fighting the weakest target in Zervis is going to be a threat, but Zante had another Unite move.
Oh, I mean, the Unite moves are flying. Hoopa comes down. Bliss assistance, they close it out. 491, 566. If they can get all these KOs. Oh, here comes Gatlu getting the Venusaur. The Blissies on the backside. They're pushing forward. Can they get the points in? Do they have enough time? Shelvin throws a Hyper Beam. They close it out on the Lucario. Gatlu's trying to do their best. Are they going to catch a reset? 54 plus 54. I don't know if another score went in, Zoiks. I don't know if you saw it, but if it's just 54, I think we might be a tad shy.
I don't know how I could see it. I was too busy watching that exceptional play at Nouns Esports with the Phantom Forest play there, and there we go! Apprentice takes it. Amazing job. They just barely hold on to their lead. Both Bruv and Gecko Kami exceptional at this Blissey Pokemon and great at protecting the most important members of their team.
And understanding that that most important member isn't always the same person in different transactional opportunities in the game. They're always knowing where they need to be, and that's what's exciting for me to watch when I'm seeing these team fights, is how those Blissies carry, because it is cut down to them in some instances.
If you're new to Pokemon Unite, honestly, where it truly shines is when you watch 5 of the best players against 5 of the other best.
Yeah, well, Gecko Kami's getting a lot of pressure here. Closed out by Redmaw. That's a little bit of strength of Lucario in the bottom path. One of the best early game characters in the game, and they're able to get a big time KO early.
Shelvin with a full central area clear comes up a little bit late at 5, but a Desu is matching. So no love lost between these two Pokemon. They're going to be at the same level, headed into our first Bees that appear at 8 minutes and 50 seconds.
They see how important it is to get Gatlu up to Trevenant there. A Desu foregoing getting experience. Usually at the central player, you want all of that. Oh, big engage. Geese and a Desu are way low, though. They're getting chased down, and that's a big time KO. Can Shelvin close out Gatlu? Doesn't look like it. Let them off the hook. No, they just turned their attention somewhere else. They said, oh, Desu, you looking pretty low, Chief. Take care of you while I'm at it.
Extreme speed resets anytime that little blue circle's below the Pokemon, including wild Pokemon. So when bees all appear at the same time, Lucario unlocks a whole new level of danger.
We go ahead and see the Dragonite coming down. Zervis might pop upstairs and give a little support. They do. Klaus saying, I got you, bud. Let's tag team this. Make sure this thing doesn't get too wild. Content with the work they just did. They're rotating down because look where Gatlu is. All the way on the backside of nowhere in their central path. Zervis coming in with the support. Chelvin's there as well. Usually we see this out of the Hoopa because they can reset themselves, but Gatlu's going to catch the hyperspace hold from Zervis. Going to take that damage. And here comes Gek as well. Just going to come in with the support. And finally, they close out Gatlu. But that commitment of players was huge, Zoinks.
Commitment of players, and Gatlu actually knocked out the Bouffalon. A huge amount of experience taken away from Apprentice Unleashed now and given towards them. So a Dragonite not going to be quite level 9 by first Dreadnought. That being said, they're still at a pretty nice pace, outpacing a Desu, dueling Dragonairs.
Yeah, they're coming in. The only difference is Shelvin getting a little support from Klaus in tandem. They're going to get that KO on a Desu as well.
Every time Nouns Esports, though, they commit somewhere, they're also committing somewhere else. 2 scores go in those top goal zones now, and finally, these bees are absolutely eliminated. Shelvin hitting level 8, though, is going to set them up extremely strong for this first Dreadnought.
Zante's level 5. They're looking for an opportunity to get some more experience here. So, of course, Gatlu's playing far forward, and they're going to engage now. They're not going to let the Dreadnought get to the map. Bruv with the little egg bomb action to buy some space, but a good pushback by Apprentice Unleashed. Gatlu with the Horn Loot. Hornleech eyes out Chelvin. Chelvin eating up this Hyper Beam. They're going to see if they can find a mark. Is it going to be Gatlu? Is somebody going to catch a reset? Looks like it's Chelvin. They're moving through, but Dreadnought's being smothered right now. And here we go. Nouns Esports takes it. That's going to be your Lucario that seals that up. Can they convert as Bruv's getting chased down a little bit? 2 players down on either side. KO streak of 2 for the Hoopa? Question mark, where are you coming from? Zante, let's go. Excuse me, that's the Ivysaur coming through. Unite move from Chelvin to buy a little bit of buddy barrier health, and Adesu doing the same. They're looking up Zante. They're going to get that KO as well. Here we go. The Hoopa's doing work. Adesu's doing work. They're passing like ships in the night now, just retreating a little bit because that was a lot of action in a short window of time.
A short window of time. It felt like 20 minutes. The Battle of the Beach, one of the longest ones that ever happens. That first Dreadnought, a very important objective. You're going to put every resource you can towards it.
Nouns Esports trying to get that one, but they do, of course, because that was a big Hyper Beam at full range that knifes through the Rotom, and they're going to push this to goal. Blitz assistance on Gatlu's going to be interesting, as they're going to get a good overdunk here. Is it going to be 40? No, bruv gets it in the face of the Dragonite, who was like, I had so much there, friend.
Yeah, 10 more points, though. Bruv really wanting to put their own mark on this game. Zante getting attacked right now, almost at that evolution. They evolve at level 9, so if they can be prevented from that, Gatlu will have made so much value here in this top path. They are getting shredded now, though. 4 members from Apprentice Unleashed collapse on top of Gatlu.
It took them a while, and did you see all that HP that they got back from the Hornleech there, Zoinks? After they're chipping into 3, I thought they had a way out until that 4th player came in and they dove all over them.
Trevenant may be a new threat to this metagame, but it is becoming a phenomenal one. The self-sustain that it's capable of, the ability to move enemy Pokemon around with that Hornleech, and of course, Curse does passive damage as well as AoE damage. So many options you have when playing a Pokemon like Trevenant.
Zante running straight at Adesu, getting a good chunk of damage, trying to keep them away from the Dreadnought. Both Hoopas are level 9, so they can hyperspace the folks through with their Unite moves, and that's what they do. The teams are rolling through, and they're trying to throw some punches everywhere as we're trying to take a look here. Big Unite move onto the Dreadnought. Redmaul's caught down low. They're going to get a lot of damage into their face here. Venusaur getting a KO on the Hoopa. 1 player down for Nouns, and of course, it's Bruv with those Egg Bombs. Just doing a great job putting their stamp on the game, not only on the score sheet, but with those Egg Bombs and secures. KO streak of 3 for Adesu, because when that Hyper Beam finds its mark, it's always through the chest of the players on the other team.
I am pretty confident that Bruv secured that Dreadnought thanks to the Energy Amplifier and Bliss Assistance. They absolutely linebacker tackled right through the objective Pokemon of Dreadnought. Bruv marked their target and eliminated it with a support Unite move. You know you're an exceptional player when you can make that happen.
Nouns Esports all over Rotom. Here comes Chelvin and Gek trying to do some work here. Klaus buying some space. Big Egg Bomb. Shipping the Rotom back. Hyper Beam comes through. Who seals this thing up? It is Apprentice, but then they get a KO too. Back on Lucario. And that's huge. Apprentice Unleashed, that's going to hit. And they're going to be able to get a good little overdunk for themselves and shrink this lead a little bit.
Yeah, Klaus just hanging out, trying to waste as much time as possible. We said it before, I'll say it again. Audino's will be entering the battlefield once this goal zone break. Klaus wants to give them as little time as possible, but they find a KO on Geese.
They find a KO on Geese. Great support by Zervis. They had the opportunity to reset, but gets out just in time as Adesu and company give up the chase. And what a good little look by Klaus. They had 3 surrounding them, and they still found their way out with a KO to boot.
And a great little trick play there. Zervis throws down the hyperspace hole, making Gatlu think that Klaus is going to go there to reset. Instead, they move towards it for a second, but then bail because they know Gatlu would have just moved them out of the reset portal with the Hornleech anyways. Great heads-up play coming to Klaus.
Nouns Esports trying to take the bees on the side of the map of Apprentice Unleashed, and I think they got a good lion's share of that. As Zante's still fighting, they really want that level 13 before the Zapdos comes up.
Let's take a hard look at the numbers, though. Snacks over 100-point lead for Nouns Esports, and they are already starting to shred this Dreadnought uncontested. The level lead, pretty terrifying. A Desu at level 13. Dragonite going to be very close to 14 with that last hit on the objective Pokemon. Currently, Nouns Esports, this is their game to lose. They are surrounding this objective. I don't know if they're going to let Venusaur through as easy as they did last time. That That being said,
good egg bomb in the dark. Huge engage. They're caught out. They're going after Bruv. Is Bruv going to get KO'd? They blitz the Sitsits onto a Desu immediately. Those hyperspace holes hit the ground. Zante's getting chased. Nobody's down yet. Desu on the big time chase. Vert and Anger back the other way. Zante's just going to use that to retreat. Didn't find any bodies, but the Hoopas are unbound as well. Who's going to be the first one down? Is it going to be Chelvin? Did Chelvin catch the reset? No, they caught a KO, baby. Zervis is on the chase. Desu lines them up, finds the mark. They kind of come out of the big time Hoop unbound. KO Trinka 2 as well for the Lucario. Nouns Esports is scrubbing this team clean. And here we go. Klaus is in the middle along with Gek. They're going to try and do some heroics, but no, it's another Hyper Beam. And it's another set of KOs. And it's Nouns Esports all over the Zapdos. And they just lock that thing down. No problems.
Ain't nobody to take Zapdos if everybody is knocked out. Nouns Esports with incredible individual play to shut down all the threats of Apprentice Unleashed. You saw a Desu chasing after Chelvin with their Unite move, forcing out Chelvin's, forcing out Zante's, and shutting them down. Amazing, amazing work from Nouns Esports. And Geese even gives the whole team a reset back to safety.
What a look. Oh, can we talk about Bruv's egg bomb in the dark real quick that sussed out the Venusaur and immediately forced an off-kilter engage, and immediately Bruv goes, this is what I thought. Bliss assistance back onto a Desu, and then a Desu went go time Unite move and just started chasing them all down with that Hyper Beam. And now a Desu's just trying to pad the stats, get their damage numbers up, and find a Hyper Beam here as they dart through, and they get it with just a little auto, and Zervis just hanging out as well. Oh, please. That Hyper Beam would have been so crisp if it found its mark.
Yeah, Desu's found enough already, okay? Let them breathe for a minute. Let them reset for game number 2. Nah, Noun Esports is going to keep the pressure on no matter what. This team is looking phenomenal. You called it out perfectly. Bruv checking every single bush. We were talking about how they were playing for intel in game 1. They did the same here in game 3, and it actually led to baiting out Zante's Unite and actually winning them the team fight in general. Clutch plays from Bruv.
Oh, I mean, it looked phenomenal. We're just chucking around haymakers now, using all our moves because we can. Nothing. Oh, come on, Gatlu, plus 24 in the last second. Like, what, was that necessary? Come on, Nouns Esports taking game 3 in convincing fashion and giving themselves a little lead here in the grand finals.
Lucario does have some high mobility moves right at the start of the game with Quick Attack and Meteor Mash, but Alolan Ninetales, if they get that freeze counter up, they can lock you in place and get an early KO.
And that would be great for Apprentice Unleashed to really get a good amount of momentum going. As here we go, Klaus already getting their stacks in. Desu trying to keep Klaus from getting the points too quickly. They're going to nap just a backside Corphish. As Desu's coming in, you're going to try and make them pay for that. Klaus, the ever slippery Lucario, is going to make it back. Looping around, grabbing a berry, grabbing them both. Feed me more, says Lucario.
More of the strategies of trying to slow down a Desu's level acceleration. They're dancing a little bit, trying to show off that Dratini can fight up against Lucario.
Just a Desu secure here in the face of Lucario. I mean, they're doing it on Dragonair, they're doing it on Dratini, they're doing it on Dragonite, and Klaus still can't find any Aeos energy to put in their pockets to actually scoring, get a stack, and for that, they get KO'd.
Oh no, a Desu getting a lot of extra value. Zante here with an early presence, chaotic chipping and damage as well.
They're trying to rotate. Zante's getting tons of pressure. They might go down. They do. It's a Desu, the Danger Noodle, putting the pressure back on Chelvin as well. Chelvin is low, but Lucario comes in and gets a good KO back on Nouns Esports, bringing a little parity to what they got going on in the top path.
Klaus did go down on the other side of the path, but they come back with a vengeance and get a really spicy KO there. Great shutdown, and they're not done with the chase. They were throwing hands with that Hoopa, but it looks like he's got away.
Big time rotate with the Alolan Ninetales. They're coming down, and Zervis is looking to try and catch a reset here. It looks like they did. They jump back in the action. Bruv just on the retreat as Gek is kind of being relentless in tandem with Zante and Zervis. They're putting tons of pressure on. Gek is putting the pressure on as well as Bruv gets a berry and forces Dreadnought to get a berry as well. Hoopa gonna get some points in, and they're caught on the back out as Klaus is getting a ton of points in upstairs.
Klaus getting fed, the Gatlu also getting fed on the other side on the Trevenant, both scoring, just letting each other do so to make sure they have their very important stacks up and ready to go. Gecko Kami here playing at this bottom bush around for second bees.
Good amount of damage going in on Bruv here by Zante on that little Ninetales. They're going to push forward, so is Gek. Little egg bomb. Is that a soft-boiled, I think I saw out of Gek there. So we know what path they're going in front. They're looking for a little bit of heal and fight sustain with this fighting composition.
It's going to be tough to keep an Alolan Ninetales sustained, but honestly, the burst damage isn't quite there for Nouns Esports outside of Dreadnought.
Gatlu with a big push, and Klaus is trying to engage as well as Gatlu's content and just going back to their side. Klaus with a quick rotation down.
Klaus now down here because in 7 seconds we're going to have Dreadnought. Gatlu just clearing away these wild Pokemon. Almost to level 9 by first Dread. Gatlu's having a great game so far.
Redmaw all over Dreadnought, and here we go. Klaus is trying to find some space, and they're going to go for it. Apprentice Unleashed gets it. Zervis, you hero. They go ahead and say, flip comp what? Secure comp what? We're going after you, and here comes the Greninja as well. You talked about how good Chelton was on the Greninja, and they're making him pay here, as that's a Unite move. KO Streak of 3. Holy smokes, that Shuriken found its mark as Gatlu's trying to sustain, but they're in the face of 4, and they get wiped off the map. Holy smokes, Alolan Ninetales and Greninja looking good.
It takes a whole lot of courage to have Gatlu in your face and for you to throw the gigantic water shuriken to the left. They do so and are able to KO Bruv, who thought they were completely safe thanks to Gatlu's front line. Not when Shelvin's around. Great heads up play, gets the KO. A KO streak of 3. They were involved with all 5.
That is without a doubt. Great look and a confident switch up here, and that's the type of momentum you want to build on. But here comes Nouns Esports. Daesu looking to seal up another one, and they don't. Apprentice gets it before the Hyper Beam comes through, and another KO for Chelvin as they find their mark on Redmon. They're pushing forward. Klaus is just scampering all over the place after using their Unite move, darting around and dodging around as Gatlu picks up the Blitz assistance. They need to push back the other way and make a stand here on the road, and that's where Desu's babysitting, but Klaus is not letting him off the hook. Did you see those E-Speed reset zoinks as Zante is getting away from the Hoopa downstairs? Holy smokes, where did this Apprentice Unleashed team come from, and why did they wait so long?
Aggressive, be aggressive. Klaus has that in their ears all day long. They find another KO. Bruv cannot stand up to the E-Speed resets. A Desu finally slowing the bleeding.
I mean, that's a big push by Gatlu to open the door up for a Desu to get a KO, and now Gatlu getting one on the Blissey. Zervis holding it down. That's going to be Unite move onto the goal zone, and that's going to be able to put some pressure on his Zervis is just trying to hang out and do their best. Are they going to catch a reset? Of course not. They're going to catch a trip back to the spawn point, courtesy of Gatlu. KO streak of 2. They said, I'm a tree. I'm an immovable object, and I'm pushing down this path to get some more points.
They better. Not a very large overdunk in that first tier goal zone, but allowing Gatlu to get an entire 40, and a Desu probably the same way. They're going to need to take Geese's hyperspace hole down very quickly.
Yeah, they do, and they jump back to the action as Klaus comes through, and they're trying to find it. Dreadnought's gone. Nouns Esports, and that's Bruv sealing it up as they're moving forward. Zervis throwing the punches. Gatlu trying to find his mark. They get KO'd by Chelvin again. They're going through with the reset. Zante's coming through as well, and they're babysitting the goal zone as Nouns Esports. As Apprentice Unleashed has the player advantage, at least in their face right now. Klaus getting lined up, not KO'd as they dart through and they escape again. Are you kidding me? Klaus looking very good and very slippery here in this game 4.
Apprentice's team fighting extremely well. The problem is they're not scoring any AOS energy off the back of this. Nouns Esports is getting KO'd, but that's the frontline members that they're throwing at Apprentice Unleashed that are getting KO'd. They're pushing forward, creating space, allowing other players to defend the goal zones and stay safe. Nouns Esports is playing this exceptionally well in the face of the high damage that Apprentice is putting out.
Gatlu putting the pressure on this road. I mean, here comes Klaus trying to do their best that they can to get this objective for them. Zante in support as well. Nouns Esports seals it up. Klaus is trying to find a KO. Good little bone rush. And we saw the Trevenant Unite move. They're going to push forward. Klaus is going to be on the chopping block. They get eaten up by the curse. And that's a big push. And a Bliss assistance by Bruv on Gatlu, who gets credit for the KO on the Hoopa through that move. And now Chelvin's holding down this goal zone. Pushed off immediately. That Rotom's gonna hit, and these points are gonna rain in. What a look by Nouns Esports, and that home goal zone is unlocked.
That cannot happen. Apprentice Unleashed needs to score, and they need to do it now. They're going to have one more Dreadnought available for experience, and they need that too. The experience lead's completely in the hands of Nouns Esports right now. They are certainly just a couple minutes away from winning this championship unless Apprentice can make something happen.
Apprentice Unleashed needs to find that magic that they had in the first 4 minutes of this one, and they need to harness that into these last 3. They looked good. They need to find it again. Chelvin, I'm looking at you. Klaus, I'm looking at you. Zante, I'm looking at you. Gek, I'm looking at you. Zervis, I'm looking at you.
You got 5 pairs of eyes. I only got 2, and I'm looking at the Dreadnought right now. A very important objective, and Apprentice seemingly rushing away from this one. They cannot risk getting KO'd at the last minute, but Gek looking for for an egg bomb seal.
Ooh, got very close, but Nouns Esports seals that up. Easy business. Didn't let anything slip between their fingers here. We have less than 30 seconds until zapdos. Nouns Esports ahead on the scoreboard. They're ahead in levels, and now they just need to convert to crown themselves as the EU Regional Final Champions.
The scoreboard is a terrifying sight, but it isn't as horrific as it could be. 183 to 65 isn't a huge differential, but Gatlu already starts the engage.
Geese getting in the face too. Gatlo engages as well. That's a big Unite move and a huge push. And all of Apprentice Unleashed is just kept out of the zap pit. They're starting this fight early as Gatlu's on the chasing Klaus, who's trying to get back in. But the Nouns Esports is all over the zapdos here. And all Apprentice Unleashed is trying to engage. Zervis gets caught out. Big water shuriken tries to find its mark. No players down yet. And take a look. Apprentice Unleashed has their first player fall. That's Zante on the alone with Ninetales. But the Dragonite's heating up. Hyper Beam finds Blissey, and they're on the chase as there's 2 players down. And Gatlu going straight back to zapdos here. Bruv and Geese are all over it. They can feel it now. Here comes the Hoopa. They're trying to make a miracle play. Can they do it? As Nouns Esports has the positional advantage. Are they close this thing out? Left side team takes it. That's Nouns Esports. And Gatlu going for the body here and cement themselves as the #1 team in EU. Regional Final Champions right on the horizon as the Hundo Burger straight ducats are going in for Nouns Esports.
Nouns Esports securing the Zapdos, securing the title in Europe. They are the best team in the region, but even more than that, they are looking like one of the best teams in the entire world. Gatlu with an exceptional team fight there in those last few minutes. A double Horn Leech pushing an entire 4 members of Apprentice Unleashed outside of the Zapdos pit. After that, it's just dominoes. Nouns Esports able to absolutely dismantle the offense of Apprentice Unleashed. Gatlu is one of the best players in the entire world, and I cannot wait to see them in August.
Nouns Esports gotta be cheering. We know they're all together. They're coming unglued, quite literally. Apprentice Unleashed, nothing to hang your head about. You are representing your region at Worlds and defending your home turf. But today, on Championship Sunday, Nouns Esports are just running out this clock until they can officially be crowned the champions.
Nouns Esports, when the scripts were being written for the EU Regional Finals, Nouns Esports had written, "Is anyone better than us?" And they have already filled in that ending. No one can touch them. 3-1 victory in the Grand Finals. A landslide win in this game number 4. 739 to 65. Was there any doubt?